What if I told you that marriage, as the world preaches it, is nothing more than a gilded cage designed to strip men of their power, wealth, and freedom? That every romantic ideal you've been sold is a carefully crafted lie meant to keep you docile, dependent, and disposable. Nietzsche saw this coming over a century ago when he wrote, "The married philosopher belongs to comedy," because he understood that no truly free man would willingly chain himself to a system rigged against him. And if you're brave enough to keep watching, you might just save yourself from a lifetime of silent suffering. Let's start with a story you won't forget. In 2015, a man named Robert, a successful engineer with a six-figure salary, married his college sweetheart. For years, he played the role of the perfect husband, provider, protector, the nice guy who never raised his voice. Then, on their 7th anniversary, she filed for divorce. The court took his house, his savings, and, worst of all, his children. He was left with nothing but a monthly alimony payment and supervised visits with his kids every other weekend. Robert is not an exception. He is the rule. Nietzsche saw this coming over a century ago. He warned that modern marriage had become a cage, a system where men trade their freedom for the illusion of security. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he wrote, "You are not yet free. You still search for freedom. You must first be burned in your own flame." Marriage, in its current form, burns men alive. The statistics are horrifying. Over 70% of divorces are initiated by women, often in marriages where the man believes everything is fine. The infamous walk-away wife syndrome isn't a myth, it's a calculated exit strategy. Researchers at the National Marriage Project found that women are far more likely to divorce if they feel unhappy, while men tolerate misery for years out of duty. And when divorce happens, men lose an average of 50% of their net worth. Some lose everything. But the financial ruin is just the beginning. The emotional castration runs deeper. Think about the last time you saw a married man in pop culture who wasn't a bumbling fool, a henpecked loser, or a cuckold. From Homer Simpson to Modern Family, marriage is portrayed as a man's surrender to mediocrity. Nietzsche called this the slave morality, a system where the strong, men, are guilted into serving the weak, a society that despises them. History backs this up with chilling precision. In ancient Rome, the pater familias, the male head of household, had absolute authority. But by the 19th century, Victorian morality turned marriage into a prison of sentimentality. Men were no longer warriors or leaders. They were walking wallets, expected to suppress their instincts for the sake of civilized society. Fast forward to today, and the legal system treats husbands like disposable income streams. Here's the hardest pill to swallow. Love as sold to you is a lie. The dopamine rush of early romance fades, but the legal contract remains. And when she falls out of love, the state sides with her, not you. A 2018 Harvard study proved that divorce courts favor women in over 80% of cases, even when the woman is the primary aggressor. Men are presumed guilty until proven innocent. But there's hope, because once you see the trap, you can avoid it. The men who thrive today are the ones who reject the script, the ones who build empires instead of signing marriage licenses. They're the men who understand Nietzsche's ultimate truth. The higher man is free from the herd.
There was a time when marriage was not a trap, but a throne. A time when men were not walking ATMs, but lords of their own destiny. The ancient Spartans understood this. A Spartan man did not ask for loyalty, he commanded it. His wife did not file for divorce on a whim because she was unhappy. She respected him, feared him, and followed him. Why? Because he was a warrior, a conqueror, a man who would sooner die than be weak. Compare that to today, where a man can be stripped of his children for missing a single child support payment. What happened? The answer lies in one of the greatest social engineering projects in history, the systematic dismantling of male authority. In medieval Europe, marriage was a contract between families, not a government-regulated institution. A man's home was his castle, both legally and spiritually. The church preached wifely submission, and the law upheld a husband's right to rule his household. Then came the Enlightenment, and with it, the slow poisoning of masculine dominance. Philosophers like Rousseau romanticized female virtue, painting men as brutish and women as delicate angels in need of protection. The trap was being set. By the 19th century, the noose tightened. Queen Victoria's reign birthed the myth of the gentleman, a man who suppressed his instincts, opened doors, and worshipped female purity. Marriage was no longer about duty or legacy, it was about sentimentality. And sentimentality is a weapon. Nietzsche saw through this. Everything about woman is a riddle, and everything about woman has one solution: pregnancy. But modern society erased even that biological truth. Women were no longer wives and mothers. They were individuals with rights, and those rights would soon eclipse men's entirely. The 20th century delivered the killing blow: no-fault divorce. In 1969, California became the first state to allow a woman to divorce her husband without proving fault. No adultery, no abuse, just irreconcilable differences. Within a decade, divorce rates exploded. Men who had built families in good faith woke up to lawsuits, asset seizures, and children turned against them. The system no longer required women to honor their vows, only men. And if a man dared to fight back, the courts crushed him. Consider the case of Thomas, a firefighter from Texas. After 12 years of marriage, his wife left him for a younger man. She got the house, the kids, and 30% of his pension for life. When Thomas begged the judge for equal custody, he was labeled aggressive and denied. His ex-wife then moved across the state with his children, and he could do nothing. This is not justice. This is gynecocracy, rule by women for women. The data doesn't lie. A 2020 study published in the American Law and Economics Review found that mothers win sole custody in over 80% of divorce cases, even when the father actively fights for his children. The message is clear. Your kids are not yours. They are hers. The state merely allows you to pay for them. But the most sinister trick is the emotional manipulation. From childhood, boys are fed fairy tales about love and sacrifice. Happy wife, happy life. If you loved her, you'd do anything for her. These are not truths. They are spells designed to make men surrender their power. Nietzsche warned of this. The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. Society teaches men to seek female approval above all else, and then punishes them for it. History offers a grim parallel: the fall of the Roman Empire. In its decline, Roman men became soft, obsessed with pleasure, and submissive to foreign influences. Sound familiar? Today's men are no different, raised on porn, video games, and the lie that marriage is the pinnacle of masculinity. Meanwhile, women are taught to despise traditional men while still demanding their resources. The result? A generation of lost boys raised without fathers who will repeat the cycle of defeat. But there is a way out. The men who thrive today, the ones who keep their wealth, their freedom, and their dignity, are the ones who reject the system entirely. They understand that marriage, as it stands, is a legal suicide pact. They focus on building empires, not families. They adopt what Nietzsche called the will to power, the unshakable drive to dominate their own lives rather than serve a corrupt system. But the most dangerous lie remains. Now we'll expose the biological and psychological warfare behind romance and why every emotion you've ever felt was engineered to control you. This is where most men break.
You've been lied to about love. Not just misled, betrayed. The emotions you've felt, the sacrifices you've made, the vows you believed were sacred, all of it was an illusion, a biological and psychological trap designed to enslave you. Think back to the first time you fell in love. The rush of dopamine, the sleepless nights, the irrational certainty that she was different. That wasn't destiny. That wasn't fate. That was evolution playing you like a puppet. And if you don't wake up now, it will destroy you.